In this video, we will practice identifying angle pairs such as the ones shown on this list right here. But in addition to identifying them, we will also be discussing whether or not they are complementary, congruent, or supplementary. So let's take a look. Angle AGB and angle CGB. Okay, so angle AGB is this angle right here, AGB. Now, how about angle CGB? Angle CGB is right here, angle CGB. All right. These angles are going to be complementary. And that's because complementary means they add up to 90 degrees. And we can see that this angle right next door is a 90-degree angle. So if this angle is a 90-degree angle, that means that the other angle right here, this blue angle, is also a 90-degree angle. So that means that the two angles that are being discussed have to add up to 90 degrees, and that's complementary. Okay, how about B? AGE. Okay, so AGE is right here. And EGD. Okay, EGD. So this is going to be, these are going to be supplementary. Supplementary means that they add up to 180 degrees. This is a linear pair. So do you see how when you put these two angles together, they add up to, they make a straight line. So that first angle that I did is this angle right here. And then the second angle is this angle right here. But when you put them together, do you see how they make a straight line? A straight line is always going to be 180 degrees. That makes them supplementary. All right, let's reset. All right, AGE, okay, from A to G to E, there's AGE, and BGD. Okay, BGD. These angles are going to be congruent. These are vertical angles. When you put them back to back like this, maybe you can see that they form an X. When you put them together, they form an X. And when you see that X, angles that are across from each other are vertical angles, right? They're called vertical angles, and vertical angles are always congruent. So these angles are vertical angles, and they are congruent. All right, the angles side by side here, they would also be congruent. They're also vertical angles. All right, reset. Okay, angle AGF. AGF is right here. How about angle AGC? Angle AGC is right here. These are going to be, all right, it gives us a nice hint here, circle too. These are both congruent and also supplementary. Okay, They're going to be supplementary because they add up to 180 degrees. This is a linear pair. So you can see that this angle and this angle when you put them together, they're making this straight line. And a straight line is always going to be 180 degrees. But the reason why they're congruent is because specifically each of them is 90 degrees. All right, you can see the box right here, so you know that this angle is 90 degrees, but that makes the other angle have to be 90 degrees at the same time because they are the way they are back to back like this. Either this is perpendicular or it's not. So because the red angle is 90 degrees, that means this is perpendicular. So it has to be 90 degrees on both sides. That's why they are congruent. All right. Angle BGF. Okay, BGF. Hold on. Let me try that one more time. BGF. Okay, angle BGF and what are vertical angles? So vertical angles have to make an X. So I need to take these two sides that I already have and I need to make an X. So I can make the X by, by extending the lines that already exist. So CBG, if I extend BG out, then that begins to form the X. Look at FG. If I continue FG, then that's going to make the X. So angle BGF, which is this angle right here, is going to be vertical angles. The vertical angle that goes with that is going to be this angle right here that's directly across from it. So these are the vertical angles. You see the X, they're across from each other. And so we can call this angle, the green angle, CGE, for example. Okay, angle CGE. Or EGC, either way. Okay, starting over. Angle BGF, okay, I guess I didn't have to erase that one. So angle BGF, again, is right here. And angle what form a linear pair. So we're looking for the angle that will make a straight line. So I've got this angle so far. Okay, now this has to be side by side with another angle that's going to form a straight line. So it's going to have to be this angle right here. Okay, maybe is there more than one? There's more than one possibility. So here's one possible answer. If I choose this angle right here, hopefully you can see that together these two angles make a straight line. Okay, so that means one possible answer is angle FGE, all right? Because a linear pair makes a straight line. So I could say angle FGE. FGE. Okay, or I could make the straight line on the opposite side. So I could come over here and do this angle. All right, these two angles together make a straight line as well. So this is a linear pair too. But this would be angle BGC. Whoops. Angle BGC. All right, so either one of these would be good answers. All right, what is next? Angle AGB. Okay, so angle AGB is right here. If that is 38 degrees, so okay, this is 38 degrees, then we're supposed to find each of these angles. Okay, so how about angle BGC? Can we find that? All right, so angle BGC is this angle right here, BGC. All right, well, these are complementary. I guess we talked about this up here, angle AGB and angle BGC are complementary. Together, they form a 90-degree angle. So this angle right here is clearly a 90-degree angle because it is back-to-back with this other 90-degree angle. So that means I just have to subtract from 90. So I'm just going to do 90 minus 38. So that is going to be 52. So this must be 52 degrees. All right. So we have 52. Now, how about angle CGD? Okay, all right, well, angle CGD is this angle right here. Okay, CGD. This is clearly a 90-degree angle. All right, these angles are actually vertical angles. And so since this angle is 90 degrees, this angle will also be 90 degrees. All right, so we can get that down. How about angle DGE? Okay, DGE is going to be this angle right here. Okay, I think I'll actually go back and do that in red because vertical angles. So DGE. All right, so maybe you can see that these two red angles are vertical angles because you can see the X that I'm forming here. So because of vertical angles are always equal. So if this one's 38, then this one's also going to be 38. So we have 38 degrees. How about angle EGF? Okay, EGF is this angle right here. So EGF. All right. Well, these two angles are going to be complementary. All right, the yellow angle and the blue angle have to add up to 90 degrees. All right, you can see the angle next door is 90 degrees. That means this angle over here has to also be 90 degrees. Or you know what? Okay, it will be more direct if I use vertical angles. So see this yellow? Yeah, forget about the complementary. Let's just go vertical angles. I mean, you could do it either way, but since we already have this angle, all right, you can see that these two yellow angles are vertical angles. All right, see how they make the x? So that means that they are congruent. All right. Or I could have used the complementary thing and done 90 minus 38 again. So either way, we get 52 for that one. Okay, last is angle FGA. Okay, angle FGA is this angle right here. And this feels a little bit silly because there's a little box right there. So we already know. All right, angle FGA is obviously a 90-degree angle because it says so right there. All right, moving on. Notice that these lines are parallel. So when you have parallel lines being cut by a transversal, all right, this line cutting through is called a transversal. Then most of these angle pairs are going to be congruent. So all of these are congruent except for two of them. So I'm going to highlight the two that are supplementary first. Consecutive interior angles are supplementary, and a linear pair is going to be supplementary. All of the rest are congruent. So I encourage you to memorize that these two are supplementary. I'll just put SUPP. These two are supplementary. Everything else, all of the other angle pairs are congruent. Okay, so angle 1 and angle 5. Okay, that's this angle and this angle. These are alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior. Okay, exterior means that they are not between the lines, and alternate means they are on opposite sides. So alternate exterior. And like I said, all of these are congruent except for these two. So these are congruent. All right, none of them are complementary. What about angle 2 and 3? All right, angle 2 and angle 3, these are consecutive interior angles. All right, I'm going to have to abbreviate. Consecutive interior angles. And like I said, that's one of the two that are supplementary. Interior means that they are between the lines. All right, 2 and 3 are between the parallel lines. That's what makes them interior. They're consecutive because they are on the same side of the transversal. If they were on opposite sides, like 2 and 6, they'd be alternate interior. Okay, how about angles 3 and 5? All right, angles 3 and 5 are vertical angles. It has nothing to do with the parallel lines being cut by a transversal. It's because of the X that's formed, and angles across from each other in the X are called vertical angles, and they are always congruent. All right, only these two are supplementary, so vertical angles are congruent. All right, how about angles 4 and 2? All right, angles like 4 and 2 are called corresponding angles. Okay, corresponding angles are angles that are in the same position. So if you look at this group, these two angles are both in the upper right-hand corner, so they're corresponding. 7 and 5 are corresponding. They're both in the lower right-hand corner. 8 and 6 are corresponding. They're both in the lower left. And angle 1 and angle 3 are corresponding. So the colors that I've indicated show you all of the corresponding angles. And corresponding angles are congruent. All right, all of these out here are congruent. Okay, what about angles 5 and 8? All right, here's angle 5, and here's angle 8. This is going to be none of these. If I were going to make up a word, it would be like same side exterior or something like that. But that's not one of the choices, so we have to go with none of these. All right, they would be alternate exterior. If I went like with 8 and 4, for example, alternate exterior, they would be on opposite sides of the line, but they're on the same side of the transversal, so that's none of these. I'm not sure if we're even supposed to fill this part in since it's none of these. Maybe we're just supposed to skip this. Okay, they're going to be supplementary, just for what it's worth. Okay, I can figure out that they're supplementary because look at angle 8 and angle 6. All right, these are corresponding angles, so I know that they are congruent. But then angle 6 and angle 5 are a linear pair, so they are supplementary. So if angle 6 and angle 5 are supplementary, then that means angle 8 and angle 5 are also supplementary. All right, so we know that they will be supplementary. Okay, what about angle 6 and angle 2? All right, so angle 6 and angle 2. These are alternate interior angles. They're interior because they're between the lines. Alternate means they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So these are alternate interior angles. So they are congruent. Okay? Only these two are supplementary. All right, what about angle 7 and 8? All right, oh, look at this. Angle 7 and 8 are a linear pair because they are side by side and they form a straight line. All right, so that's a linear pair. And of course, they are supplementary. A linear pair, a straight line is always going to give you 180 degrees, right? If you look at this, of course, that's 180 degrees. So, and that's one of the two that I told you at the beginning were supplementary. So linear pair. And they are supplementary. Okay. Now, if we know one angle, we should be able to find all of the angles. So angle 1 is 88. So let's play a game. Okay. In fact, let's do this. Since we're starting with angle 1, let's do colors. So let's make all of the angles that are congruent with angle 1, let's make them all yellow. So angle 1 and angle 3 are corresponding angles. Okay, so they will be congruent. But angle 1 and angle 7 are vertical angles, so they should be congruent. Angle 3 and angle 5 are also vertical angles, so they should be congruent. All right, so all of the yellow angles should be congruent. Now let's jump to angle 2. We'll color angle 2 in blue. So angle 2 and angle 4 are corresponding angles. All right, they're both in the upper right-hand corner, so they should be congruent. But angle 2 and angle 8 are vertical angles, so they should be congruent. And angle 4 and angle 6 are vertical angles, so those should be congruent. All right, so all of the yellow angles are congruent and all of the blue angles are congruent. So we know that angle 1 is 88. That means all of the yellow angles are 88. Okay. Now, for example, angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary because they make a linear pair. So that means this must be 92. All right, they have to add up to 180, so I'm just doing 180 minus 88. So that's why I'm getting 92. All right, so this linear pair has to be supplementary, so that means angle 2 has to be 92. And that means that all of the blue angles are 92. All right, so we have them all labeled. Now all we have to do is write them all down. Okay, so angle 2 is 92. Angle 3 is 88. Angle 4 is 92. Angle 5 is 88. Angle 6 is 92. Angle 7 is 88. And angle 8 is 92. Okay. If angle A and B are congruent, then if angle A is 72, then angle B is also 72, because congruent means they have the same angle measure. Okay, if angle A and C are complementary, if angle A is 72 degrees, then angle C is going to be 18 degrees. Oh, they already have the degree sign. Complementary means they add up to 90 degrees. So we have to do 90 minus 72. Okay, so if we do 90 minus 72, that's why we're getting 18 degrees. If they're supplementary, then that means we have to subtract from 180. So if we do 180 minus 72, that's going to be 108 degrees. Okay, so complementary, they have to add up to 90. Supplementary, they have to add up to 180. So you just subtract. If two angles are congruent and complementary, so that means they have to be the same and they have to add up to 90 degrees. Then their measures must be. Okay, so they have to add up to 90. So the only way they're going to be the same is if they're each exactly half of 90. So what is 90 divided by 2? 90 divided by 2 is 45 degrees. So they would have to both be 45 degrees. That way they can both be the same and still add up to 90. What about congruent and supplementary? So that means they have to be the same and they have to add to 180. Again, the only way that's going to happen is if you split them exactly in half. 180 divided by 2 is 90. So if they were both 90, then they're congruent, but they still add up to 180. So they are still supplementary. All right, now we need to do some algebra. So A and B are complementary. That means they add up to 90. So I'm just going to set up my equation by doing 4x plus 10 plus x plus 25 is equal to 90. Combining like terms, I'm going to have 5x plus 35 is equal to 90. All right, I just combined the 4x and the x and the 10 and the 25. And then you subtract 35 from both sides. So you get 5x is equal to 55. All right, because I'm doing 90 minus 35. And of course, then I have to divide both sides by 5. So that gives me x is equal to 11. So now I need to find the measure of angle A. So I'm going to change colors for a second. So the measure of angle A is 4x plus 10. So that means we're going to have 4 times 11 plus 10. That's 44 plus 10. So that's 54. Okay, 54 degrees. Now, for angle B, I could do that again. All right, angle B is x plus 25. So I could do 11 plus 25. Or I could have subtracted from 90 since they're complementary. So either way, I'm going to get 36 degrees. All right, in fact, you can check your answers by adding these up. 54 plus 36. And they should both add up to 90. Okay. Now, these are congruent. That means we can just set them equal to each other. So this will be 4x plus 10 equals x plus 25. So since these x's are on opposite sides of the equation, I can't just combine them. I have to subtract x from both sides. That'll give me 3x plus 10 is equal to 25. And then I subtract 10 from both sides. So that'll give me 3x is equal to 15. All right, and so if I divide both sides by 3, that gives me x equals 5. So now I want to find the measure of angle A, so I need to plug in. So A is 4x plus 10, so that's going to be 4 times 5 plus 10. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 plus 10 is 30. All right, and these are to be congruent, so I know that the answer is going to be 30. But if I want to sort of check my answer, I can go ahead and plug in. So x plus 25 will become 5 plus 25. And that does make 30, so it checks out. All right, supplementary, that means they have to add up to 180 degrees. That's why I'm going to go 4x plus 10 plus x plus 25 is equal to 180. All right, so combining my like terms, right? So these are like terms and these are like terms. They are on the same side of the equation. That's why I'm just combining them. I'm not going to subtract anything. So I'm going to get 5x plus 35 is equal to 180. And then we subtract 35 from both sides. So that will give us 5x is equal to 145, and then we will divide by 5. So that's 29. So x is 29. So angle A is 4x plus 10. So that would be 4 times 29 plus 10. So 4 times 29 plus 10. That's 126. All right, and then angle B. Angle B is x plus 25. So that's going to be 29 plus 25. So that's going to be 54. Okay. Angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical angles. And we know that vertical angles are congruent. So that means we can just set them equal to each other. So vertical angles are congruent. So we're just going to say 6x plus 9 is going to equal 3x plus 27. Because the x's are on opposite sides of the equation, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So that will leave me with 3x plus 9 is equal to 27. If I subtract 9 from both sides, that's going to leave me with 3x is equal to 18. All right, then if I divide both sides by 3, I'm going to get x equals 6. All right, angle 1 is 3x plus 27. So that's 3 times 6 plus 27. So plus 27. So that's 45. All right, so angle 1 is 45 degrees. Angle 2 is 6x plus 9. So that's going to be 6 times 6 plus 9. So that's going to be 45. All right, we knew they were going to be congruent because they're vertical angles, but this is sort of self-checking. If you do them both, then you can look back, and if they're equal, you know you got the right answer. All right, linear pair. A linear pair is going to be supplementary. All right, that means they have to add up to 180 degrees. So we should do 3x plus 27 plus 6x plus 9, and that should all add up to 180 degrees. All right, so these are on the same side, so I'm just going to combine like terms. You know, I'm going to combine the 3x and the 6x, and I'm going to combine the 27 and the 9. Okay, so that's going to be 9x plus 36 is equal to 180. So, of course, we will then subtract 36 from both sides. So that'll be 9x equals 144. And then if we divide both sides by 9, we get 16. So x is 16. Now, angle 1 is 3x plus 27. So that'll be 3 times 16 plus 27. So that is 75. All right, now these should be supplementary. So I can already tell that this angle 2 should be 105. But I am going to go ahead and use the formula so I can just see for myself, and in that way I can check my answer. So angle 2 is 6x plus 9, so that means 6 times 16 plus 9. So that is 105. So they are supplementary just like we wanted. So then you know you have the right answer. Okay. All right, these are alternate interior angles. So they should be congruent. So I can just set them equal to each other. So I can go 5x plus 4 equals 2x plus 22. When the x's are on opposite sides of the equal sign, I will subtract one of them. So that'll give me 3x plus 4 is equal to 22. Then if I subtract 4 from both sides, that's going to give me 3x is equal to 18. So if I divide both sides by 3, I'm going to get x is equal to 6. Now, these are a linear pair. You can see that together they form a straight line. So that means they have to add up to 180. So 8x minus 4 plus 36 has to add up to 180 degrees. So I will subtract 36 from both sides. Actually, I should combine like terms first. Because the negative 4 and the 36, these are like terms. So if I put those together, then I'm going to have 32. So I will just subtract 32 from both sides. So 148. Now I divide by 8. And that is 18.5. Okay, these are clearly complementary. They are nestled inside of a 90-degree angle. You see the angle next door is 90 degrees, so that means this angle right here is 90 degrees. So let's make sure that they add up to 90. So we will go 3x minus 22 plus 43 has to equal 90. Let's combine these like terms. All right, so this is going to be 21, right? Because we're just doing 43 minus 22. So that makes 21 is equal to 90. So if we subtract 21 from both sides, that's going to give me 3x is equal to 69. And then if we divide both sides by 3, then that's going to be 23. All right, so x is 23. All right, we are almost to the end. The end is in sight. These two angles are consecutive interior angles. They are going to be supplementary. All right, so these are going to be supplementary. They need to add up to 180 degrees. So I'm going to go 6x plus 22 plus 110 is equal to 180. So combining these like terms, I'm going to have 6x plus 132 is equal to 180. Then if I subtract 132 from both sides, okay, that's going to be 48. And then finally, if I divide both sides by 6, that's going to be 8. All right, last one. These are corresponding angles, so they will be congruent. So I can just set them equal to each other. So 6x plus 5 will equal 131 degrees. If I subtract 5 from both sides, that'll give me 6x equals, and this is going to be 126, right? Because obviously I'm just doing 131 minus 5. But then I have to divide both sides by 6. And that's 21. All right, that is it for this review.